Hi, I'm Dr. Safaya, a medical doctor who doubles as an email marketing expert. In here, I take you behind the scenes of failed and successful email marketing campaigns. You get to see what these amazing individuals have tried that worked and didn't work in email marketing. If you've been curious and like me, you want to know what other people out there are really doing in email marketing, then join me as I go behind the scenes.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to Email Marketing Experiments. I'm here with the amazing Felly, a content repurposing expert. She has a passion for helping entrepreneurs show up unprofessionally across the internet. I think this is the first time I'm hearing of this kind of thing where entrepreneurs get to show up unprofessionally. And when I got to find out the meaning, I love it. And she'll tell us more about it down the way. Fun fact, you can usually find her with a cup of tea, a bottle of water, and 90s R&B playlist banging in the background. So I'm quite curious, first of all, what kind of tea are we talking about here? Say green, black, matcha? What do you have going on?
I'm an herbal tea drinker. It's like funny in France, they don't actually call it tea. It's tisane because it doesn't have theine in it, which makes it tea. It's whatever. I will drink any like flowers, basically. Currently, I'm drinking hibiscus tea.
Oh, and once you said flowers, the first thing that came to my mind was actually hibiscus. I don't think I've tried it, but I do know I've seen it around and I've heard interesting things about it. So maybe I will try it. Maybe. It's good to have you here. It's good to have you here. So before we go into what it is we're talking about today, the 3 email marketing mistakes you should avoid, I would love our listeners to hear about what it is you do.
I own a content repurposing agency. We essentially consume and create content all day long. I got into this because I was frustrated. I would say tired, but more frustrated when I was going to create content for clients. And it was like you're starting with a blank slate every month. And it was either that I could create very basic surface level things, or I would look at their own content to inspire myself and figure out what I wanted to create for my clients so that we could create things that actually were on brand and followed their tone of voice every time.
That's great. So I love it. And now let's move into these 3 mistakes that we are talking about today. We have a range of things, warning to 30 emails in 30 days and lots more. So we're going to be going right into the tea for this particular episode. So along the way on your journey, you've made mistakes that taught you valuable lessons. Some of them costly too, because mistakes can be a bit costly. Failing is a big part of every entrepreneurial journey. We've all done something that didn't work along the line at one point in time or the other. But what will you say is your biggest fail in email marketing? And I think we'll go ahead and start it from there.
I would say, in general, beyond the 3 mistakes I've made that we're going to talk about, would be not being clear on who or what I'm talking about.
And I see how that can be a big one because once your messaging is unaligned, it begins to cause a message audience mismatch and a whole lot of things just go wrong from there. It's like a spiral and you just spiral away. So let's go into the mistakes proper. So the first one, you told me about how you did a launch without warming up your audience. And after hearing that story, you do have stories for days, by the way. But after hearing that story, what came to my mind is launching without warning. And I was just wondering, what was your thought process when you decided to launch without warning, without warming your list, without, telling them what it was that was coming? I would just like to hear about the idea you had before you even started.
For reference for everyone listening, I was in the process of revamping my Done For You offer, and I had been in that process for months. So in my mind, I was very excited to be at the point where I was now ready to sell the offer. And it felt like I had been doing this thing for months and everybody knew about it. And I had been talking about it. I had assumed everybody was ready, like I was ready. But the problem was I'd been talking about it on threads. I'd been talking about little pieces of the behind the scenes, of the revamp, of like changes I'd made. And I'd like ask questions about messaging and stuff, all on threads. So then when I brought it to my email list, they had no idea what I was doing or what I was talking about.
And what was the response like when you now did the launch?
I literally got a response probably within like 12 hours being like, I'm sorry, what are you doing?
How? I mean, I don't know how we respond to something like that after all the hard work. But how did you feel?
I was pretty devastated. Like, it was a big ego hit because I was really excited. I'd written all these emails and like scheduled them out. And I was like, this is awesome. My offer is just going to sell now. I know I have people on my email list that need this. And so when I saw that email like response, I went and read the first email I sent. And my first thought was, I never clearly laid out what I'm doing. I didn't introduce it in any way. There was no warm up. There was so many steps that I missed just because I got ahead of myself in my excitement. So I had to basically delete the emails I'd already scheduled and reset the slate to like properly introduce the offer.
Wow. I mean, that's such an initial setback because a lot of times once you open cart for your launch, you're just expecting like the money to roll in, the people to say thank you, the sales notifications, and also receiving an email saying, what are you talking about? It means that there are other people who are also wondering, what are you talking about? But this person was bold enough to even reply. But I love the way you processed it in the sense that you were like, okay, I mean, I do feel devastated about this, but what can we do? Because this was right at the beginning of your launch, if I'm not mistaken, and you still had like more days to go. So going in there, deleting all the emails you had written over time, and then resetting the slate and starting over. So when you did this, I'm just curious, what happened from there?
I think it really was like doing a proper introduction, doing this is what the offer is, this is who this offer is for. One email that had all the details laid out, and then following emails that broke down each of those steps, like the who, what, where, when, why of my offer before I could get into the selling points, the transformation emails, the case study emails, which I had originally all had scheduled to come right away. I mean, as my offers are evergreen, I don't necessarily have open close doors for my launches. So I'm like probably not the best resource for someone who does have like proper launches. This was like a launch in the sense of I was bringing an offer to the public. It already existed, but I was bringing it back to the public in its new version. But I would say like if I was going to do another launch in this sense, I would have done at least 2 weeks of like build up, anticipation, like kind of curiosity building content before being like, here's the offer, buy it, buy it, buy it. Yeah, so I have a service guide that people can download if they're interested in my offers. I also have a lower ticket offer called the Remix that it gives you content ideation, but not done for you content. So there's a lot of people on my email list that are ideal for done for you. It was just a matter of like needing to introduce the changes I'd made from the offer because maybe it had completely changed from when they downloaded the service guide and like new pricing, new structure, new deliverables. So like they're ideal people on my list, but they didn't know what I'd done basically.
So we're going to be going into the second mistake where you did a 30-day email challenge. So you were going to send about 30 emails in 30 days. And I'm just curious, how did you keep up? Because I mean, consistency is a big thing, right? Being able to send like those 30 emails in 30 days. And did you actually meet up?
So, like, writing the emails and sending the emails wasn't a big deal for me because, I committed to the challenge. I decided I was going to do it. The problem was the content of the emails.
Okay. So what was the content of the email?
The premise of the challenge was that you picked one offer and you wrote 30 emails about that offer in 30 days, basically to sell your offer in a month. What would end up happening is that I think I did the challenge 3 times over 2 years. And every time that I would start the challenge, it would start strong. And then the emails would just slowly drift off topic, slowly become pointless. They wouldn't really have any value to them. They kind of just became, here's a pitch every time. And I wouldn't sell my offer.
So it's like you were just doing the challenge for doing sake, and then the emails began to lack like depth.
Exactly.
And aside the fact that you weren't selling more offers, did you notice anything about the way your audience would respond to these emails? Did it maybe lead to lower engagement or same? It affected like your unsubscribes?
I wouldn't necessarily see my engagement go down. I feel like my engagement has consistently been the same forever of like 30% open rate, but I would definitely see more unsubscribers and I would never get answers like reply backs from these emails.
Oh wow, that's a lot. So it reminds me of the fact that, sometimes people just post to post rather than
Mhm.
connecting. So could we say that maybe these emails, because they didn't have depth and because you just wanted to, tick the box for the challenge, that they were not connecting with your audience in terms of building relationship instead of just selling?
Exactly that.
So after doing this challenge 3 times and noticing all of this, how did you then adjust your strategy afterward? I mean, you had done this 30 days sequence, you had gotten a number of unsubscribes, and then maybe the other people were not feeling as connected. So what did you do following up to ensure that you truly connected with your subscribers?
I realize that challenges aren't for me and that I do better with like having my weekly newsletter and then writing a sales-based email on top of that. So then I can have my sales-based emails and my nurture-based email going to my list without overloading my list with like 5, 7 emails a week. It helps me stay more on track with sending them as well.
Oh, wow. So in a week, you have 2 emails going out. One is the newsletter, the other one is sales focus. So is it sales focus, one product per week, a mix, or one product for the month?
I tend to stick to one product for a period of time, not necessarily like a week or a month. Maybe it could be like a whole quarter, but yeah, I tend to stick to one at a time.
All right. And have you noticed any particular patterns in trying this particular thing out where you're sticking to one product for an extended period of time, for example, like a quarter?
I find that sticking to the one offer helps with my offer awareness, and my audience really knows my offer intimately. Even the people who aren't going to buy the offer, they start to understand, and like it's where I get a lot of referrals as well, that they can see themselves or see someone else buying that offer because they now have a deeper understanding of it. I've tried like jumping around from offer to offer, and I find that it doesn't connect the same when I don't go as deep into each one.
I love it. I love it because a lot of times what you actually tend to see in the industry is people doing promotion, and sometimes in a week you could get like different offers in their different emails. Or one email could be linking to like maybe 3 different offers, as opposed to the fact that you're not just sticking to one thing for 30 days, but one whole quarter, and then it's driving referrals because people get to know more about what it is you do, and if they can't see themselves in that place, they can definitely see somebody else. I think that's something that we should consider because there's a lot that it can do. Now let's move to the next one. And I think this one is so popular and still happens to people today. I mean, it has happened to me and it will definitely happen to somebody tomorrow. And it's the mistake number 3, attracting the wrong audience with your lead magnet. Now, your very first lead magnet attracted a community of people who admired you but weren't interested in your services. What happened from there?
Yeah, so I started out as a general VA and I made a lead magnet called, oh, I can't remember what it was called, but it was about signing clients through Facebook groups. And so I ended up bringing in people who wanted to be VAs, not people who wanted to hire VAs. I mean, it wasn't the end of the world because I did end up for a while offering coaching programs about a year later. But at the time, it was a major wake up call of I'm bringing the wrong people in, but also the people I want to work with, they're not interested in how I sign clients. They're the ones that are the ideal clients of the people downloading this guide.
Wow. That's a whole realization there. Understanding who it is that's coming and understanding who it is that you want to serve. So when you were building that list, what did you learn from building a list that wasn't aligned with what you were selling? How has that shaped your approach to creating lead magnets today? Because I'm sure you do things a whole lot different now.
Oh, yeah. I honestly took a break. I want to say like 2022 until 2024 that I was just like, I'm not doing lead magnets anymore because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do or teach that was relevant to my done for you services. Because I feel like a lot of lead magnet offers, like people talking about how to create lead magnets, they're talking to coaches and they're talking to consultants who are selling like one-on-ones or, 45-minute sessions. And so I definitely went through a long period of not having a lead magnet, of not knowing what to do for a lead magnet. But in that time, I grew my audience through different sources, like joining summits, like being a speaker in different places. So I think what having the wrong lead magnet taught me is that there's different ways to grow your audience with more ideal people.
That's really, I mean, from not having a lead magnet to actually getting people to sign up for your list through Summit. And I'm wondering, what was the response from the people on the summit like? Because you did this summit as opposed to how you had with the lead magnets. Were these people more aligned? Do you think it was because of maybe what you spoke about, or did you give them anything else?
Yeah, so I would do presentations basically on content repurposing, starting content repurposing, like being a new content repurposer. So I was already positioning myself as content repurposing expert, and then I would invite them to join my email list, positioning my newsletter as essentially the lead magnet, as the value, a weekly email that will teach them content repurposing tips, alternative marketing strategies, and things like that. And so the people coming onto my list already knew who I was, which I think is something that lead magnets don't necessarily help you with when you're like getting in front of cold people. And I found them to be much more aligned.
Ah, I like this. So it just made it simpler and easier for you. You weren't cracking your brain to think about what lead magnet to use. You were just appearing in front of these people, doing this presentation that connected them with you and getting them on your list. So I'm curious, to those other subscribers who you had previously, did you maybe let them go, or did you still keep them on your list after you found this new pattern?
I've done list purges, so whether anyone's still been here since 2020, I'm not sure. But I moved systems twice. I moved from ConvertKit to Kartra, and then I moved back to ConvertKit, which is now just Kit. Both times when I moved, I did the like, you haven't been opening my emails. If you still want to be here, like, click this button or click this link. If you don't want to be here, you'll be removed. And so I have removed people, I want to say 2 or 3 times over the last 5 years in big batches, people who don't open any emails. Yeah, I think that's the only type of purge I've done. But if people have been reading my emails since 2020, they're still on my list.
And that would be pretty amazing. But I mean, you could probably still have it because there are people who do tend to stick around. So maybe it might be something worth checking just to think. But looking back at these mistakes, how have they influenced the way you do email marketing today, right? In terms of your overall strategy and execution. So not just in terms of bringing people to your list, but generally in terms of everything.
I would say that after all of this, like launching without warning, sending too many emails without any value, bringing in people that don't immediately look like your ideal audience. My lesson and like my approach to email marketing is that it's a big lurking platform. It's a place where people will just stay until they're ready. And so I just keep emailing, like through all of my mistakes, I just keep sending more emails because I know at the end of the day, the person who wants to buy from me will keep opening. Whether I send an email with the wrong links or I send some bland emails over a period of time, I know that eventually I will get to the place where it's connecting again and I'll make sales again every time.
That's such a growth mindset, and I love it. Now, I know you have this amazing bite-sized private podcast called Turn One into 10. And I'm really curious if you also applied it to your emails. You turn one email into 10 pieces?
So my whole process starts with finding your core content. And at the moment, my core content is threads. I start my content on threads and then repurpose from there. And yes, a lot of my emails are repurposed from threads.
Now, this is pretty interesting because there are some people who have a ton of content. They create for YouTube long form they have like blog posts, then they are doing social media, they want to do emails, and they feel like they have to start from scratch every single time. So the fact that you're actually applying, like you're using what it is you teach people to do in your own content and starting from like your core platform, I feel like everybody needs to go check out your private video podcast. You can easily find it by going to her website or the link in her bio. Her website is fellyday.com, or you can find her on social media, Instagram, Thread, still at Felly. I'm correct, right? That's your hand.
Yeah, yeah.
So I signed up for it. I received the emails and I'm like, oh, CPIA. I love this framework. I like what it is that you're talking about. I know I was not scared when you were talking about the angles part. I was actually very curious to know how it was going to come into what it is you were doing. And then in my head, I'm like, how do you take this thing you're doing to repurpose content and then apply it to emails and you actually do it? Because I feel like for some people, everybody doesn't do email marketing the same way. For some people, they already have a ton of content. They have the ones they are creating long form majorly, and then they have the ones that they are putting in their strategy might not be forefront. So being able to repurpose it and properly, right, will go a long way. So I have another question. So say someone follows you on Threads and also on your email list. How do you ensure that they don't feel like, oh, I've gone through this before? Oh, she always sends the same things she sends on Threads and emails. So maybe I shouldn't read her emails because I'm already following her on Thread. Have you experienced it, in the past? So how do you handle such?
Oh, I've definitely experienced it, and I will be the first person to say that the quickest way to get people to unsubscribe from your email list is to copy paste from one platform to the next. I don't believe that repurposing is copy pasting. Repurposing means to recreate. So when I take a thread and I turn it into an email, I'm not just copy pasting like the same hook as the subject line and all of that. I'm taking the idea that I wrote in the thread, and I'm either expanding on the thought or using a different angle on the thought. So if I made a thread that was maybe more lead generation based, then I might make it more nurture based, right? So it's like these people already know me, they're not brand new to me. I'm going to talk to them in a different way than I would talk to them if they were on threads.
Nice. I think people need to hear this because some people really just do copy and paste instead of recreating. So what's your number one email marketing metric you would always track?
I mean, I track my list size, my open rates, and my click rates, but I also know that the open rates and click rates now aren't the best because a lot of people's email marketing systems open all the emails and click all the links to make sure they're safe. Not actually the person, but like a bot. So I tend to look at what got responses, what got higher open rates than average, if like there was a title that stood out more, and which ones got sales from it or inquiries.
I like that last one. Inquiries. That's a big one that people don't really track. But if you have the
Mhm.
system in place, it can go a long way to tell you what's working, what's not working in terms of getting people to take action. So I know you say you don't do a lot of like seasonal launches. Your lead magnets are evergreen. Seasonal lead magnets versus evergreen lead magnets. Which do you think works better in email marketing?
I think if you're having seasonal lead magnets, that's so much effort that I don't want to put in. So I'm not going to vote for that. But also, it depends on what your business is, what you're running. Like for me, I do content repurposing. Any offer that I put out is going to be specific to content repurposing. So I have a lead magnet that anyone coming into my world is interested in content repurposing. Whether they want to do it themselves or they want to outsource it, they can download my lead magnet to get a deeper understanding of my approach to it. So I don't need to do new lead magnets consistently or ever, which was my plan with this lead magnet, was to not have to do new ones. If your offers don't have such a link to each other that you can create something like that, I understand having different lead magnets for different offers, but I'm pretty much in the camp of your lead magnet should be to get on your list and you shouldn't need different ones for every single offer.
Okay, okay. Now I know we've talked about three mistakes and you shared one thing that you felt like people do that should be avoided at the beginning, but I'm going to call for a final one, right? So, is there any mistake you see a lot of people do in their email marketing that you think they should avoid at all costs? So, maybe something you see repeated in your inbox that a lot of people do that shouldn't be done.
Oh, the one we already touched on, which is that people are copy pasting their content from either Instagram or LinkedIn or Threads to their email list. I think that emails need to be different than the content we put on social media. Whether you're repurposing it and changing the angle or not is your choice. But because people on your email list tend to be your warmer leads than the ones who are on social media, you're really burning the bridge by not putting any effort into the content you're sending them.
Great, awesome. There's this school of thought that says that email marketing should be your number one platform. And some other people that say it's not about having a number one platform, but ensuring that each platform collaborates with the other platform to drive results. What do you think about this, and what school of thought do you lean towards?
I think that everybody should use email. I think whether you're a service provider or a coach or product-based business or digital products, whatever it is that you're doing, I think we all can massively benefit from email. But I think there's a lot of different ways to do email marketing, which isn't mentioned enough. Like, you don't have to do weekly emails. You don't have to do launch sequences and welcome funnels and all these crazy automations. Like, you can just send one email a month and still be doing like good, you know? So, which school of thought I'm in, I think that email can be your number one platform, but you still have to prioritize it. It won't be your number one platform if you don't put in the effort.
I think you just made the ears of a lot of email marketers and marketing people ring and tingle because you said you could send one email a month. Even I had to, take a deep breath because I just told somebody on a call earlier today. I'm like, oh, and then maybe you could do one email a week, but I usually advise two. And I know that if someone tells me, oh, send one email a month, I'm going to be like, uh, but one thing I've actually realized, even though personally I won't recommend it because I usually don't recommend it, but I've seen people do it and have it work, right? Where they actually do one email a month that's like a newsletter, and somehow they've built a system around it. And I think that's like the fundamental of what it is that you're saying and you're sharing. I also love how with email marketing, there are so many schools of thought. And then sometimes people tend to make even the things that are not generally accepted by everybody to work and then change the narrative for people.
With all marketing platforms, I think we all need to find our own groove.
We need to touch a bit on this unprofessional. A lot of people want to always position as professional, but how did this, unprofessional come in? And you've created like a really cool niche around it. So I definitely want to hear more about that. How can people get into this space?
Yeah, so for me, being unprofessional is about how you act and dress, not about how you run your business, I guess. So, like, for me, I don't wear makeup. I usually have my hair as a mess. I never wear a bra. Like, when I was running my business a few years ago, I lived in Mexico, so I'd be like in a bikini or like in a muumuu just back from the beach. And so people would always be like in shock that I didn't put effort into how I looked to run my business. And that's where the being unprofessional messaging really started. And now it continues because that's just my personality. Like, I'm never going to put makeup on unless I have somewhere to go or something important. Like, I barely wore makeup to my own wedding, you know? It's about being yourself and not putting on a mask just because we all show up online and show our face. Your being professional is about your profession. It's about the work that you do and not about how you look. It's got nothing to do with what you look like or how you speak or the fact that I like to swear when I talk, right? Like, I'm allowed to be myself and you're allowed to be yourself, and that's a great thing. And we can all make money while doing it.
That's such a different angle entirely because a lot of people, even the big coaches, when they are teaching, they talk about, oh, the way you present yourself, the way you look. People will judge a book by its cover. And, it's a whole different thing from, just being you and then showing people your excellent quality of work while still maintaining your own personality and your elements. And I think that that's a really great angle for people to explore because a lot of times we see people dive into things that they shouldn't have gone into initially just because of the pressure of trying to maybe keep up or look a certain way or, those kind of things. I remember there was a time they were driving somebody on Twitter or something. But yeah, I like it. So we have explored a lot of things today. I mean, the mistake I really resonated with has to be attracting the wrong audience because I always tell this story of creating a lead magnet to do an ebook design course. And then I had people come in and like, oh, can you tell me how to write the pages of my ebook? So how should the chapters flow? And I used to write, but I really was not interested in offering people writing services. And I'll keep getting a ton of emails and replies. It's like, but that was just not what I wanted to offer as a service. So it was really frustrating. And I had to go back, really lean to who the people were, like the people I wanted to serve and then do that whole revamp. It was like starting afresh again, just to be sure that I had the right people. So I totally get how, that can go and how it can affect your marketing overall. Felly has told us a lot of amazing things today. I think the one that really stood out is knowing the people that you have because everything boils down to knowing and understanding them. Then a lot of things stem from there. Then the second thing that I really want to highlight is the fact that content repurposing isn't about copying and pasting. It's actually about recreating. That one really stood out for me. And then when she talked about her metrics, she also mentioned, aside the general ones that you guys know, she can track things like inquiries. So you can actually set up your system to serve you for those metrics that matter to you beyond what it is that you do today. So, Felly, how can we connect with you? How can our listeners find you and connect with you today?
Yeah, so I am most active on Threads. I have Instagram, but I mostly only use it as an inbox. And then I also am on LinkedIn. I'm on all those platforms as Felly Day. And other than that, you can find me on my website at fellyday.com.
Thank you so much. And guys, you guys have to ensure that you actually go subscribe for her private video podcast. You will pick a lot from it. That framework, the CPIA, is pretty powerful and it will show you how to literally turn one piece of content into 10. And you can use it not just for social media, but even for your emails. And you can check out all the good stuff she has on her website that can help you repurpose content whether you're very busy, you have a dynamic schedule or any of those things, you'll be able to create content easily because now you can repurpose what it is that you have going on. It has been so amazing having this conversation with you, and it has been a pleasure speaking. Guys, this is Email Marketing Experiment. Don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, and of course, follow Feliday across all social media platforms. The link to her amazing video podcast that shows you how to turn one piece of content into 10 will also be linked in the show notes. Till next time, think it, test it, and share it. Thank you, Felly.
Thank you.